How's it going, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. First one of 2026. Super excited to have you guys here. Had a great response. I was kind of expecting a good response to this webinar topic just because of the GPT 5.1 webinar was a really good one. And we had a lot of people come. We had 180, what was it? 185, 187 people register for today. So I'm gonna just kind of let some people funnel in here as they come. And I'm also going to be pulling up, as always, if this is your first time here, I have the webinar chat up on my other screen as well. And I'm going to have the Q&A up on my other screen as well. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to stop me. This is a time for you guys. You guys are taking time out of your day. This is to be valuable for you. And if you guys have questions about this, I imagine other people have the same questions as well. So this is going to be a cool one. I've been exploring this, researching this. GPT 5.2 technically came out in 2025, so it is last year's tech, but I have not done a webinar since then. And seeing how many people really enjoyed the webinar on 5.1's release, I really wanted to take the time to do the research and put this together for you guys for 5.2. Now, I'm going to go through the slides, just kind of giving you guys a brief overview. As always, I really try to cater how these features are released and what their benefits are. And I try to cater them and tailor them to how the construction industry works with AI. Just background, my business partner on Contracts Connected, which is a back office paperwork AI solution for, the construction community, the AEC community. He owned a GC for 15 years, and he actually started a second GC. He's out in Tennessee on a job site today, actually walking one. But we use it in his previous company, and we also are heavily using it in his new construction company. So a lot of the stuff that I'll be kind of like tailoring it to today is kind of how we're using it in his. It's kind of cool. I'm using his company as a bit of an incubator for different AI products and different AI tools. Just because he's very tech forward and we talk every single day and there's a lot of trust there, as well as we're business partners on an AI solution that hundreds, I think that over 1,000 contractors now have accounts in. So yeah, I'm gonna jump right in here. As always, Q&A is up. Feel free to stop me. Feel free to ask questions. Happy to dive into anything that you guys need. So, the introduction to 5.2, there's a few key differences here, and these differences actually help construction out specifically. So it's been cool to see them. But as far as GPT 5.2, it's going to basically be our latest version of OpenAI's ChatGPT architecture. It's designed to enhance capability and reliability. Users have already reported substantial time savings with ChatGPT. Enterprise users gaining 40 to 60 minutes daily just based off 5.1 to 5.2. While power users save, over 10 hours a week on different things. And really what I'm going to get into today is heavily about large amounts of information and how it's better able to better interact with large amounts of information, spatial recognition, stuff like that, that the construction industry specifically, with your guys's, 500-page PDF documents, you're going to benefit from this as far as a actual, boost to something that you guys would actually use or see value from. Okay. So the first thing is it has now advanced multi-step reasoning and planning. And I'm gonna, if I can blast through these slides today and just to give you guys a kind of like a executive level summary of all these features, I'm gonna switch into my ChatGPT account as I usually do in these, and I'll try to show you guys how you can actually get in the driver's seat and fully control these things when you're in ChatGPT. So, Improved coherence and planning. One of the standout improvements in 5.2 is its enhanced capability to think through complex multi-step problems with greater coherence and logical planning. This allows the model to tackle intricate tasks that require sequential reasoning effectively, think critical path, stuff like that, there's a lot of prior thinking that needs to happen. And then you need to take all of those thoughts and then plan something out sequentially. That is going to be something that is greatly enhanced. Like some of this stuff's like a night and day difference in 5.2. Now, in terms of the the benchmarking that we're doing with these different AI models, and this is across all AI models, they're evaluating all of these against the same benchmarks, just so you guys know. So you're going to see ChatGPT still be the leader in the scores on these benchmarks. And as far as, this 5.2 model, this is going to surpass human experts in approximately almost 71% of tasks across 44 different occupation tests. This notable achievement demonstrates the model's advanced reasoning capabilities in professional contexts. So this is basically a direct result of the improved planning. You're seeing it better outperform, human cognition as far as like, oh, I didn't catch that. My critical path didn't consider that. Stuff like that. So it's going to break down complex questions better. So I often see in construction, you guys, or not just you guys, but just the industry as a whole, when I watch even my co-founder, Contracts Connected, use AI, is like he's trying to build out his cost code architecture, and he would ask it, just give it too much information. And ask it too many things at the same time. And that would create what we call fatigue and lead to what we call hallucinations. So just think like ChatGPT gets tired, and then when it gets tired, it can't remember much more because it's tired. So then it starts making stuff up. And he's getting really frustrated. And he called me one day and he was like, dude, this is wasting my time. I thought I had it, but it turns out it was making this stuff up because I, pasted in, 1,000 line items from an Excel sheet. And I was like, you got to break it down into smaller steps. So this is actually achieving fewer hallucinations now because it's able to break down these really complex asks that we're almost expecting AI to do now. And it's turning it into little baby kind of questions that it can actually handle better, not hallucinate around. So 5.2 can effectively break down complex questions or projects into manageable parts, addressing each component logically. This structured approach enhances the user's ability to engage with multifaceted issues systematically. So, again, instead of just trying to accomplish the whole thing at once, this GPT model, this is new with it. It's actually turning it into multiple different little problems. And then once it has its little problems, it works on little problems individually. And then it tries to take all of those insights and loop them back together to give you a good answer. Structured step explanations. So I'm not sure if you guys have been using the thinking or the pro research grade reasoning models within 5.2, which are thinking is not new, but pro research grade is new. And I can show you guys how to access that. Very rarely will it kind of self-opt into the pro model. But this model is offering structured step-by-step explanations for elaborate questions, ensuring clarity and coherence in its responses. Users can expect more organized and easy to follow guidance on intricate topics, basically more than previous versions. And you guys are starting to see a theme here. 5.2 is really about bigger context windows, more information, more complex questions, bigger PDFs, bigger kind of like planning scenarios. And I think a lot of these bigger items are why some construction people have just not found value from AI. I think that some of the stuff that you guys deal with has so much data from so many different sources that it's really hard for these, we can call them beginner models because we really are in the beginning stages of AI. But these beginning kind of ChatGPT models, yeah, they can write an email really, really good, but can they really plan out, take all items into account? No, and we've seen hallucinations happen because these things fatigue out, and this is doing two things. It's reducing the hallucinations by breaking things into more manageable thoughts and more manageable pieces of chunks of information. And it's also going to hallucinate things because it's not going to fatigue because it is broken those bigger items down. So I see a lot of benefits for, the construction community specifically here. So larger context window and memory. This is going off my point about the the massive PDFs, the massive amount of information, the massive amount of documentation, the massive amount of communication that happens during a construction project. Another piece that I hear people in our AI community is, hey, like I'm not getting value out of this. It just doesn't know my project. It knows construction in general, kinda, but it doesn't know my project. It doesn't know how we work. It doesn't know what's happened on my project. This is going to get you closer to it knowing those things. And a context window, for those of you that don't know what a context window is, a context window is just the amount of characters that an AI model can think about prior to giving you an answer. And it's traditionally gotten bigger and bigger and bigger as each model has come out. So, before it could maybe remember a few pages of PDFs before it gave you an answer, then it could go to like 20 pages. Now we're getting up into some really large context windows where it can remember everything more than a human. And this is where we're seeing it outperform humans as well, because it can recall a lot more information than a human can about like specific email threads and so on. And it's not having to summarize any of it. So the extended context handling is significantly increasing, the amount of context that it can have. And think of context as just previous data, previous words, previous PDFs, enabling it to handle extensive inputs that can span hundreds of pages. This allows users to engage in deeper, richer interactions without the AI losing track of essential information or hallucinating and trying to make it up because it can't remember it. High token capacity. So with near perfect accuracy on tests involving up to 256,000 tokens, GPT 5.2 can maintain a high level of performance even with vast amounts of data, providing reliable responses to complex inquiries. This is more on, hey, the software tool that we use. I know it's powered by ChatGPT on the back end. A token is essentially just another word for context window. A token is basically like a character on a Word doc. Improved memory retention. So this model's enhanced memory capabilities allow it to now track information across large documents, ensuring that, critical details are never lost during lengthy conversation or extensive data reviews. So memory and context go hand in hand. Context is all of the data that it's taking into account, maybe previous PDFs you've uploaded and so on. Memory is your conversation with it. If you're a power user of ChatGPT, you've likely gotten into a thread at one point or another where your threads just become so long that, it forgot the first prompt that you put in there. And the first prompt that you put in there to start the conversation was the most important one. But now you're so far down this memory threshold that it can't remember what you originally asked it, and then like your prompt adjustments or your follow-up questions as you've gone through. So the memory retention is now expanded. You're going to see I'm noticing some significant improvements with 5.1 and 5.2 around this stuff. Coherent analysis of extensive materials. So again, construction specifically, you guys, like this basically is going to enable you guys to perform analysis or summaries of substantial materials, making it easier to extract relevant insights and information from complex documents like contracts or project specifications. The content, again, it's basically breaking these big things down into little thinkable things, and then it's analyzing all those little thinkable things, and then it's putting it all together to give you a deliverable at the end of it. So there's a lot more happening in the background of ChatGPT and how it's analyzing this really heavy documentation that construction deals with. So the next is better spreadsheets, and construction loves spreadsheets, love tracking on spreadsheets, and this is another piece that I think you guys are going to benefit from, as well as like reporting. And in terms of 5.2, it's designed to produce higher quality work artifacts that you know. Enhanced structure and formatting. So this improvement means that users can expect more organized and visually appealing outputs, contributing to a more professional appearance overall. I've worked with ChatGPT specifically with spreadsheets, and it's always been a very weak point, right? It's never been a power kind of tool for generating any. It can help you with a formula for a spreadsheet, but generating the spreadsheet itself, it really struggles. It can read a spreadsheet that you've put into it really well and understand where all the connections are, where the data is getting pulled, how the formulas work, and be able to kind of properly analyze and work with you after that. But generating those initial documents has always been a struggle for ChatGPT. I am excited about this. I haven't really leaned into this myself personally and tested this yet. But it is one area of weakness that I believe ChatGPT had that I know they were aware of because things like Gemini are really focusing hard in those areas. Polished deliverables out of the box. So this model is aiming to generate polished deliverables that require minimal editing. Users can depend on 5.2 to produce outputs that look client ready right from the start, saving time in the review and finalization process. So ChatGPT is going to be asking questions now to help you get here quicker. A lot of the times when you don't get here is because you haven't given enough information. It doesn't know everything that it needs to give you a client ready or ready to send off as any type of deliverable, even internal. But it really struggles sometimes when it doesn't have enough information. And instead of assuming and moving, it will start asking you some questions that I've seen, especially when it's going to use more computing power, like the thinking, like the pro, like the deep research. Formatted reports and spreadsheets, again, 5.2 is going to excel in generating well-formatted reports, spreadsheets, slide decks based on user prompts. This capability allows for seamless creation of detailed work artifacts that are tailored to specific needs, such as project updates or budget analysis. All right. So I'm going to blast through this one. I do have people that I know come to every single webinar that are, more on the IT side within a construction company that are kind of using tools in their own fashion. So I like to just throw these in here because there's multiple of you guys, and I know I see a couple of your names here today. So in terms of the new scores, these are just benchmarks. 5.2, as we would expect, has the highest benchmark, significant advancements in technical capabilities. It scored a 55.6, showing notable progress compared to its predecessor. So big improvements, even though it's still called ChatGPT 5 point something. It's a big difference. Reliable debugging and feature implementation. So this is just focusing on for those of you that are building your own AI features internally to your construction companies. It's going to help you guys basically find what's not working faster before somebody at your company finds what's not working or you have to test it yourself. And then handling complex programming tasks, it's basically able to handle bigger things. Again, this is the theme here: bigger documentation, bigger complex tasks, bigger programming tasks. It's able to just think in bigger ways, and it's doing that by breaking it down, analyzing those things one by one, and then giving you that answer. So I didn't want to spend too much time there, and because I wanted to make this more focused for, the broader audience here. All right. So, advanced vision, image understanding, and generation. So, this is important for construction in the way that I think, I wanted to put this in here as like a general vi vision thing, but you guys have problems, or the AI industry has problems recognizing drawings, plans, and specs and stuff like that, just in general. It's been an area that AI has been lacking for some time, and this is a step in the right direction. and specifically in 5.2. So now ChatGPT 5.2 is the leading vision model, and it has the most accurate kind of vision model as far as AI goes. So 5.2 is recognized as OpenAI's most advanced vision model to date, significantly reducing error rates by approximately 50%. Just with this like 5.1 to 5.2, they're really honing in on accuracy, bigger things, like giving better answers, rather than like new features, new features. They're really focused on like throttling up the accuracy and the kind of reliability across this stuff. This improvement allows more reliable performance in analyzing and understanding visual context across various applications. Think PDFs, think, JPEGs, PNGs, whatever kind of image that you want to throw in it. Um, Expert analysis of visual data. So this model's ability to accurately interpret visual information extends to complex graphs, technical diagrams, schematics, making it invaluable tool for professionals who rely on visual data. Users can upload diverse visual content, and 5.2 can draw meaningful insights or summaries from these visual inputs effectively. So, how you guys use this, I have a variety of different people and different professions here that come to these. You're all going to use this a bit differently. I just want to open your mind up and get your wheels turning that this is coming, this is here, this is improving. A 50% improvement in just a couple of months is a huge, huge improvement. And we can expect 5.3, or if they insiders are saying that, GPT 6 is supposed to come out first quarter, so I don't know if they're going to do a 5.3, or if they're just going to skip straight to the 6, but there's a significant new model about to release with OpenAI. It's just like every other week now, there's something. But enhanced spatial recognition, this is, I think, arguably like one of the most important things when it comes to the drawings that you guys are looking at. So with improved spatial understanding, 5.2 is going to excel at recognizing the relationships between elements and images. This capability is crucial for accurately parsing technical visuals such as site layouts, architectural plans, which require an understanding of spatial orientation and component placement, and even the text related to those components. And I mentioned the word parsing here. I know that's a nerd term that I use a lot in my day-to-day life, but might not be common knowledge out there. Parsing is when AI needs to take a PDF, needs to take an image, needs to take a drawing, and it needs to turn it into something it can work with. And it can really only work with code, or as we would like look at it, just text, right? And where there's been a big gap in so far in AI, and especially for construction around more complex stuff like drawings, is it uses something called optical character recognition, or OCR. So it's always looking for characters, right? Like this whole thing's been built to look for characters, look for characters, look for characters. And drawings aren't characters. Drawings are way more complex than that. And at the end of the day, the AI uses a code called Python primarily. It's a coding language, and Python, it can't take a box, it can't take a house, it can't take a foundation drawing and stuff like that. It can only take text. And the way that some of these parsing tools, so parsing again is taking the PDF, we parse it out, and then the end result of parsing is something that the AI can understand. They've had to try to draw these things like in the code somehow, and they're using like line, 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 space, 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 line, 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 like to try to draw these boxes so it continues to keep its kind of um, ability to understand this stuff a little bit better, and it has some visualization. And these different AI models have taken different approaches. Facebook's Llama parse had been my favorite in the past, but I've tested a few things because we parse out thousands and thousands of PDFs in Contracts Connected because we're a back office automation system. We get a ton of PDF documentation, COIs, W-9s, weekly certified payrolls, like you name it, even the contracts. And we need to parse those PDFs into something that our AI can interact and analyze and give them, green, yellow, red lights on. So I'm very heavily in this like parsing world and this spatial recognition being able to understand. And this is why we've had so much trouble with AI giving you really valuable stuff around drawings and stuff. They just haven't had a really good solution for this, and they just haven't really focused a lot on it. And this is something specific for the construction community that, this 5.2 release is like almost designed just for construction. It's pretty cool. So I hope that that kind of like backstory about how parsing works, what the challenge has been in the past, getting like a visualization into a code format when all we have in the code format is just lines of text like a Word doc, it's been hard. So you can imagine trying to redraw your plans in Word just by hitting enter and using lines and stuff. It's not going to be a fun time. So the next thing here that has been improved is more reliable tool use and workflow automation. So some of you guys that have come to previous webinars have used and that have joined the AI Blueprint construction community, you guys have used different tools across, the connectors section. You can talk about, connecting in SharePoint, connecting in your Dropbox, connecting in your Microsoft Outlook, your Gmail, your calendars, whatever you have in here. The tool integration has been something that they've been trying to gradually introduce. I don't see a ton of adoption in it. More like the power users that join our AI community use it. But 5.2 is going to demonstrate significant improvement in utilizing external tools. This is going to allow for smoother integration and interaction across various application. Advancement enables AI to perform complex tasks more efficiently and effectively. So the tool use, if you guys have used these things, um, we want agents to, at the end of the day, be able to go, send an email, get a meeting scheduled, and then put that meeting on the calendar with the address and travel time between like where you're planning to work and where the thing is and all that kind of stuff. This is going to basically have a higher success rate between agents using tools as well as tools being accessed for information. That's kind of it here. They're just making incremental improvements at this point. Complete task management is kind of what I just talked about. So, the ability for 5.2 to maintain focus throughout the entire chain of tasks means that users can rely on the model for comprehensive project management or data analysis without the fear of losing track of essential details or steps. You guys are seeing a theme here. Bigger data, more complex things, more complex projects, more complex code, more complex tasks. We're really being able to just go further and longer with this ChatGPT. All right, customization and personalization controls. These are new settings that are in your ChatGPT account already today. So new customization controls. 5.2 is going to introduce new controls that allow users to customize their tone, style, and behavior of responses, enhancing the overall user experience. This feature enables more tailored interaction between AI and the user, aligning outputs with specific needs or context. This is a slept on feature, in my opinion. If you guys have not done this yet, I highly encourage you guys to go pop into your settings, go change this stuff because once you do, you're gonna see that you need to edit it a lot less. You could essentially just have it talk your tone, and when it writes that email, instead of you having to use that email as a first draft, you can just kind of copy and paste it. It saved me time for sure. Refined personality presets. So, friendly, efficient, professional, candid, quirky enables the user to select the AI's tone according to the situation or audience. These presets allow for more relatable, context appropriate interaction. So, they're really trying to make AI sound like less AI. That's kind of the theme here. Everybody can kind of see an email or see a LinkedIn post, and they're like, yep, that was AI. This is going to make it a little bit tougher to figure it out. If you're still using the standard settings, it's going to sound like AI. But if you want to use this in a work situation, in an email situation, in a LinkedIn situation, and you don't want it to sound like AI, go tweak these things. It'll help. Adjustable response detail. Users can now adjust response details by setting preferences or for conciseness or verbosity. So, as well as the formality of the AI's language, this flexibility allows for quick summaries or in-depth explanations catering to the specific requirements of each tasks. So, again, this is just helping you guys refine this to talk how you talk. And now let's talk about reliability and safety, construction's favorite things to talk about as far as AI, and understandably so. So let me grab a sip of water real quick. Okay, so in here, um, hallucination has been kind of the plague of all AI models, not just OpenAI's ChatGPT. And a quick backstory, just so you guys understand why this happens. Back when we first created the first benchmarks for AI, we benchmarked it and basically awarded it higher results when it gave us an answer. Now, who was checking all those answers? Nobody, because when we were first creating these AI models, it was just about is it able to find an answer to this or not? And these benchmarks in the early days of AI rewarded the models for giving an answer instead of rewarding it for saying, I don't know. And because they rewarded it and they were motivated to create, these models to give answers at all costs, because in the beginning, that's kind of what we wanted, and this was all new and shiny. There's kind of this like flaw that's baked into the way that these AI models work because all of those models had that programmed in the early days, and now it's kind of like a sickness that it has in its brain, and they've been trying to kind of flesh it out for a long time now. Last year, mid last year, they changed a lot of the benchmarks to actually give rewards for the models to say, I don't know that, instead of trying to make something up. And that goes back to this really complex problem. And I see construction really struggle with this complex problem of I have a 500 page, 500 pages worth of documentation for this project. I need it to create an analysis. I need it to give me insights. I need to give it context, whatever it is. And instead of saying like that's too much, that I can't remember all of that. I can't remember this detail if it was in these documents. You'll never see ChatGPT tell you any of that stuff. It'll just try its best, right? And as it tries its best, it is very aware that it can't remember all those things, but it's going to try to make stuff up anyway. And that's called a hallucination when it makes stuff up. So now not only is it like you're asking it a question about something that it should know, maybe a general question like, you know, how many miles is it from San Francisco to LA? It'll know that, right? But when you're asking it project specific stuff that you've uploaded to it in the past, it'll just think that it knows it, and it will give you this made up answer if it can't grab it efficiently or if it's not within that context window. So it's this really complicated problem where the benchmarks are able to now reward it for saying like I don't know the miles from Zach's house to Mel's house because I don't know who they are. Um, it can basically understand that, but when you're working with your context window now, there's a chance that it did know that, and there's a chance that it could reference that, and it's not always able to understand that it can't reference those things. So you come up with these hallucinations. And the real big focus for all of these models has been to reduce the hallucination rate as much as possible. So 5.2 specifically shows a significant reduction in hallucinations, decreasing error rates by approximately 30% compared to 5.1. And these 5.1 to 5.2 is only a few months in difference. So hallucinations are still a problem. They are, especially when you're working with complex amounts of data like construction does. But it's a temporary problem in my mind, and it's not a reason not to use ChatGPT. You can have it still show its work and work around these hallucinations. But you can see significant improvements just within a couple of months. And it's one of their biggest focuses across all models is to eradicate hallucination. This makes the model a more reliable source of information, helping users trust the outputs with greater confidence. So, just you're going to see this as a theme. Eventually, it's going to be so minimal, it's just going to be like so rare that, and I believe soon, that it's just not going to be something we talk about anymore. But right now, it's a topic that you guys need to be aware of as you use this. Enhanced sensitivity to topics. So this model has been enhanced to provide more thoughtful and relevant responses to sensitive topics such as mental health and emotional distress. Some people are using ChatGPT as a therapist now, as a relationship counselor, like you name it. They're best friends. So th they're understanding that and they're seeing that and they're trying to fix that. And then as far as safety goes, safety metrics have been upgraded, leading to better handling of delicate issues, ensuring that the model operates within safe boundaries. This allows for the improved interactions that respect users' concerns and maintain ethical standards. These two things were in ChatGPT's documents of their release, and I thought it would be just cool to have them in here. So let's compare these things. And I don't think I programmed a little zoom here, so I'm going to manually zoom. All right. So we saw a theme here, and I'm going to try to just share my screen and show you guys a couple of things that I didn't really reference in these in my ChatGPT account after this. So if you guys stick around, but 5.2 is going to represent a significant leap over its predecessor, 5.1, showcasing a marked improvement in overall performance, particularly in expert task scenarios where it achieved approximately 71% efficiency compared to 39% in 5.1. The model's context handling also has dramatically improved, allowing it to process up to 196,000 tokens, or you could call them characters, right? Far exceeding the 32,000 tokens. These aren't just small improvements, you guys. It's like doubling the efficiency on complex tasks, and it's just like multiplying um, the amount of like context that it can remember now. Additionally, 5.2 features have advanced vision capabilities and offering better accuracy interpretation of visual data compared to the basic image analysis of 5.1. Um, I want to stress how big of a difference the vision thing is here. And if you guys have some old drawings or plans and specs, I encourage you guys to go see how it works. So while 5.1 laid the groundwork of AI capabilities, its features were limited. And 5.2 is not perfect either. And while we don't really see this stuff, when you're using it day to day, especially in construction, you guys are just so busy. You don't have time to really critically think about like how is it giving me this answer and where can that be improved? 5.1 and 5.2, I think are like could honestly be like ChatGPT 5, ChatGPT 6. I think it's that big of a difference. Features were limited, so overall expert task performance was notably lower. The context length was constrained and made it difficult to manage larger data sets. The vision features were really basic. It often failed to provide any, precise insights from visual information. The workflow automation in 5.1 was often clumsy, got stuck, the tools didn't know what to use. More user guidance for multi-step tasks. If you asked it how to do something or what to do, you'd have to probably follow up with it and so on. So let me just go here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and open up a new tab. You guys should be able to see this when I open it. All right. So one thing you'll notice is I had Pro turned on here. So 5.2 has a new type of thinking model here. And this new type of thinking model is called Pro, Research Grade Intelligence. Instant think, ChatGPT 2, ChatGPT 3, like just give you quick answers. You should know this, How many miles is it from San Diego to San Francisco? Should know these things, right? Um, Thinking, thinks slightly longer for better answers. Pro is almost honestly like deep research mode. And if you guys aren't familiar with deep research mode, in here, you'll see deep research. And this is going to give you a full written report, an in-depth analysis on any topic. So deep research mode is still active here. But in my opinion, this stuff is pretty close, deep research and pro grade. So if you put it in auto, it will auto switch between all of these. In my experience, I've been using ChatGPT 5.2 very, very heavily over the last few months, or basically over the holidays. And instant and thinking, it's going to use these most often. I would say it's going to default to instant probably 80% of the time, maybe go to thinking about 20% of the time, depending on how complex your prompt is. And then pro, I've never seen it go into pro by itself. This pro is going to use a lot of computing power, so I would imagine that ChatGPT does not really want a ton of its computing power going out for no reason. So it's going to be very conservative on how it uses Pro here. And if I wanted to show you guys, I'm building a software that's specific just for our onboarding process right now. And you'll be able to see that I had it kind of help me understand. I want to build a onboarding dashboard so people can know when they're getting set up with us, like where are things standing. So you can see that when I switched it into pro mode, in order to give me an answer, it actually thought for 4 minutes and 45 seconds. So this is going to be thinking for quite some time. It's going to think through and give you all of its different thoughts that, it had to go research this and go look at that. And it will also be able to give you its kind of like thoughts as far as like what websites it visited to get to these things. But here you can see the huge difference here, right? So 4 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm very rarely going to want to do this. And just know that if you click on Pro, it's going to take some minutes, even if it's a simple thing. Thinking, you can expect maybe 30 seconds on average. Instant, self-explanatory there. One other thing that I wanted to show you guys here is in the, oops, this little like, there we go. In your settings here, you have personalization. So again, this is kind of where I was instructing you guys to come in. So I have mine set to friendly, just because I'm a friendly guy. I like to think so at least. But some other people would probably call me nerdy. But when I'm talking to customers, when I'm writing emails, when I'm doing that kind of stuff, I want it to be friendly. And then this other stuff, I've played with it in the past. I'm not a huge emoji guy, but you can come in here and kind of crank those up and down. You can give yourself a nickname now. You can tell it what your job title is. You can tell it more about yourself if you want. You can also control your memory here. You can also manage your guys' memory here. This is different than, improving the model for everybody, where you guys would want to go into more of the data controls thing. So if you guys are worried about your data getting, improving the model for everybody and they're taking all my information and everything I put in here, go into your data controls in here instead. This stuff is referencing memories. So as you work with it, think about things like, hey, I work for ABC Contractors out of San Diego, California. And you put that in a few different chats. Eventually, it's going to remember that you work for ABC Contractors out of San Diego, California. And you're not going to have to kind of tell it about you because it's in these other previous chats. I think this is very useful. I would personally keep it on. And the main thing on this page is all about the personalization. You can make AI sound a lot less AI-y with this. And then just as a refresher, improving the model for everyone. I would kind of keep this off if I were you guys. So make sure that you have that off too. And if you guys are, just since I'm here, if you guys are kind of concerned about any of your information, if you're asking it a question, maybe you're asking it a question about prescriptions or something, there's this temporary chat up here. This is available on mobile app as well as desktop. So memory is going to be disabled for this chat and it will not appear in your sidebar history here. So you can ask it kind of anything that you want, and once you log out or close this window, that that whole chat thread is gone. So you guys can use this to ask it any like maybe it's a personal question and this is your company account or something like that. Use this temporary chat. It will keep it out of your history. It will keep it out of the memory, and you guys won't have to worry about that. So with that, I kind of wanted to. I have a little bit more time here. If there's more specific things, feel free to ask me. I'm gonna pull up a drawing, like a plan and spec, uh, because I wanted to test live with you guys a kind of like a drawing here that is going to use that visual recognition here. So here is a construction plan. Let's just upload this in. Oops. I don't know if it's going to be able to take this. It's too low resolution. Okay. Yeah. Structural drawing. And then while I'm doing this, if you guys don't know, I do have this AI community that basically is full of construction people. You can see that I post in here almost every single day. Um, and I post different kind of like infographics on here that basically are here to give you guys as much information as possible. So I'm trying to just give you guys something every single day to keep you up with AI news, keep you up with any AI kind of um, uh, feature releases. As 5.1 comes out, you guys will notice that, I updated everybody on 5.1 the day that it came out. Here's like what AI mature looks like in construction. So I'm doing a lot of work here to give a lot of value every single day, as well as there's full courses in here. So beginner guides to AI for construction. I have all of these courses where you guys can kind of get up to speed. And then I also have advanced prompting. This is another course here that gets you up to speed. These are all really short 3-minute videos. You'll see that all the webinars here from all of the previous 15 weeks. This is a cool AI that I built for contract risk review. You can see that we have members. Oh, I like to see this. We have members all over the world, which is cool. It's really awesome to see everybody in there. And then I also make myself available twice a week, live for everybody to ask me any questions that they want. So I'm also very accessible. So I'm accessible via email and so on for anybody's questions as they implement AI into their daily life or if they have any problems and so on. I put the link to that inside of the chat here for the webinar. So if you guys haven't yet, go check it out. That link is exclusive to you guys and will get you a 7-day free trial, zero cost. If you get in there, go watch all the different things in the classroom. Watch me post here. You'll see all the previous posts that I've done every single day. And you'll also be able to kind of get as much value as you can out of that. And if you still feel like by the next webinar you haven't gotten everything that you need out of there, you just cancel it and it's completely free. So free 7-day trial as a thank you guys for coming to this first webinar of the year. And with that being said, I'm going to put in this drawing that I have here. I was trying to find something that was a little higher resolution because the one that I had downloaded prior to this was not the best. So I got a new one here for us. Mm-mm-mm. Cool. I didn't think it was going to be this hard to find a new one, but I got it. We did it, guys. So these are floor plans. I can show you guys them in a different tab here as well. But let's take temporary chat off. I'm going to say, all right, so add photos. Here we go. Desktop, floor plans. Here we go. So we have some plans here. I'm going to send this off. So let's see what kind of visual understanding that we get out of this. Analyzing the image. Uh, and I'm also going to pull this up here for you guys so you can kind of see it. Oops. Let me put this in a new tab. And I'm just goofing around here with you guys, kind of experimenting as well. And if you guys have any specific questions, feel free to ask me. So this is the floor plan that I have uploaded here that I'm asking it to analyze, just so you guys can see what I put in here. So here we go. So we have our sheet A-101, A-101, cool. So it is referencing the right thing. Now let's take a look as we go in. So main living core, center right, bedroom wing, right side, garage, studio, gym, left. So this is pretty cool. So what we're seeing here is it accurately being able to depict what's where on this actual document. Which in if we did this in 5.1, it wouldn't really be able to do this too well. So garage, studio, gym, wing in the left. Centrally located large. Okay, so now I want to start asking it more questions specific to. Use my spelling. Basically trying to get framer. Nice. Okay, so it's going a little bit further than I asked it to. One thing that I do like about 5.2 that it's better at is it labels the assumptions versus what it knows. Slab on grade. Nice. So now we have our scope of work being drafted here. You can see that this resolution wasn't the best either, but it's still able to pull in. So 226 square feet, 288. Let's see if it failed. So basically gets it really close. I think this is more a resolution thing than a GPT thing. Um, they got this one right. So what I really wanted to see is if it was able to kind of grab these measurements and then allocate them to, the garage door versus, how it could frame these things out, what windows were there. But overall, sometimes when you're writing these scopes, from what I've seen in Contracts Connected, some companies make really broad scopes, some do more detailed. Some companies that do broader scopes of work, say that a more detailed scope is more risky because a contractor could say that wasn't in there versus if you say all framing for the drywall for the garage, gym, and the stairwell, and they just leave it at that, they're able to kind of argue that something was in the scope of work. So I've seen multiple schools of thought around that. If you guys have any other examples or things you want me to pull in, feel free to throw them in the Q&A. Also, any general questions that you have about 5.2, throw them in the Q&A. I also do this for you guys. If you guys have topic ideas, anything like that, join the AI Blueprint or just put it in the QA here. What topics do you guys want to see? I think one of my most favorite from last year was if you guys are in the AI Blueprint here and you're in the classroom webinar recordings, this one's probably my favorite that I did last year. We actually built a full risk review contract custom GPT for construction documentation. And we were able to build in our own kind of workflow and analysis about how we look at contracts. We typically, don't accept terms of, retention over 5% and so on. And we could coach it to look for those things. This GPT that we built would already be better based on the new context windows that we have. And if you guys remember, we have this here. It's this one construction shield that we built. So analyzes construction contracts for risks. Um, and this is basically built on 5.1. But if you guys had built your own in the past, your own custom GPT, you can come in here and you can adjust it to 5.2 thinking. And we have it specifically on thinking again because we don't want instant answers. We want it to think before it answers. So now just like that custom GPT that we all built together last year would be updated with the most recent model. So don't forget to do that if you guys were on previous webinars. I'll hang out here for a couple of minutes. I know there's still quite a few of you in here hanging out with me, and I appreciate that. Thank you guys. My goal is for you guys to just leave this like learning one thing today, taking one thing away. If you're walking away with this with one new piece of information that you can talk about with AI, I feel like it was a good use of my time, good use of your time, I hope. And I'll be doing these every Tuesday. So come back, tell your friends, and if you guys want the 7-day free trial for any of your coworkers or colleagues, reach out to me, zach.kerber@contractsconnected.com. You could also basically get in touch with anybody at contractsconnected.com, and they will give you access to me in one way or another. So, thank you guys. You guys are moving the needle in construction, and you guys are forward thinking, and it's cool to see so many people really excited about AI and using it in their day-to-day life. My goal is just take my nerdy knowledge and transfer it to you guys one way or another. So. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I will be seeing you guys next week. I'll send out the announcement of what I'm going to be presenting on Monday afternoon. Cool. All right, guys, have a good one. Let me see if I can stay. I can stay for a couple more minutes. So I'm probably going to turn my camera off, but I will be watching the QA. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll turn my camera back on and answer them. Hey Doug. So Doug asked for everybody, are previous webinars recorded and available for viewing? Short answer is yes, Doug. I'm not sure if I've seen you in this AI community here, but if you come in via the link in the chat here, and you come to Classroom and you click on webinar recordings, you will get access to every single one that I've ever done. This one, again, being my favorite so far.
Prompt is
We built a custom GPT live
not
together. But this one, along with all the other ones, are here. You can use that link here in the webinar chat. I can throw it in here again for you. There's a 7-day free trial. Feel free to get in there, check them out. And you can watch them as many times as you want. And if you love it, you can hang out in there past the 7-day trial. If not, no hard feelings. Um, I hope you got some value out of it either way. So I hope that answers your question, Doug. Sometimes, not always, sometimes our marketing team will take one of these once in a while and they will put them on the Contracts Connected um, YouTube channel. It's not as structured as this, and it's not as many as this, but sometimes they do make it to YouTube channel a few weeks after they release. So you can also check out our YouTube channel for contractsconnected.com. And that's my AI paperwork back office software. That's my full-time gig. So. Alrighty, guys. With that, Doug, I hope that answers your question. And yeah, thank you. I'll see you next time.